Hey, push it. New little video. On this one, got my London fog, so I'm all set up. Just finished a night shift, so I'm a little bit off. So I need that stuff. So on this one, it's actually lately I've been doing a lot of those videos, and like I said in the previous update, medical is coming. It's just I've been doing a lot of research. I'm doing some course on online on antibiotics, antimicrobial, and doing some research and stuff. So that's why there's not much medical. But this weekend I'm going for a long walk, and I may try a few things for blisters. So I may do a little video on that for the medical people that likes my videos, because at the end I'm a medical person. But this one is just I've been watching a few videos now on YouTube, and just finished watching a movie. It was pretty interesting, called Rampage, and it brings to me. In French, we call it le talon d'Achille, I forgot in English, but there's this. I think it's in the Bible. They built a very strong statue, and the feet of the statue was built of clay, and it was a very bronze statue. But if you break the feet, everything collapses. And this is what we call in French the talon d'Achille, because I think his name is Achille. But in English, sorry, I don't know what it is. And so, why am I talking about that stuff? The Canadian Prepper did a video one time saying that we need more academic people on YouTubes and stuff. And I totally agreed with him, because I think now we're at a point, I mean, we saw everybody bug out bag, we saw everybody knives and stuff, and we still need to keep up with this. With people like the Urban Prepper that keeps bringing the bar higher and higher in organization of their kids, of course it's got to be pushed. But now it's like the majority and it kind of lost its win. And so I think once you prepare, especially that we say a lot of the preparation is 90% is in the mind, we should start focusing more on questions on how we should prepare, but not like so much the how as on gear, but in our mind and in our philosophy and everything. And one thing I've noticed is on a lot of videos that I've seen is that there's a weakness in the preparation. Is that a lot of people I was watching a video that was saying, oh, if I bug out, I'll go in the desert, or if I bug out, I'll go in the woods and stuff. And I did a video in the past on principle versus rules, and I find that the people that think that forget about something is that things will change. Right now, 80% of the population is mostly in big cities, and 20% of the people is outside the cities. If something happened and you have all those 80% people going out, the little place in the woods that you have probably won't be there, or if it will be there, it won't be as resourceful as it used to be, because now there'll be a lot of people fighting for it. And a good analogy that I have with that is, I imagine that you're in a theater and somebody wants to see the screen a little bit better, and one person gets up because he wants to see the screen better and cannot see because of the person in front. If one person does it, it's not bad. I mean, the person can see a little bit better because it's standing. But if everybody start doing it, then it's a moot point, because basically now you have changed the rules of the purpose of what you're seeing. One person starts, so there's always like a limit of how much you can see. So now you can see exactly the same thing in a situation where a disaster, where people would kind of be moving in and out, as one person would try to bug out in the woods where they had like all planned it out and everything, and maybe live out of hunting and everything, but they can't do that right now because the rules are like, yeah, 80% in the city, 20% weekend warrior once in a while in the woods, and you don't see a soul there, and it seems like a good place. But if you change that, and not only that you're changing the humans modification as habits and stuff, and they're moving, there's also you're changing also the animals, because a lot of cities now have because they like coyotes lives a lot in the big cities or near some big cities, because they're able to feed on squirrels and stuff. Well, even that aside, a lot of people will depend on their preparation is to go hunt small game. Well, now if you have a whole bunch of coyotes that comes out and try to hunt your small games, and they're much better than you are at it, because it's instinctive, that's what they're doing and everything, it will switch the balance of how you can survive out of this. And so this was basically the point of this, is that a lot of people that I see in the videos and their preparations, seems like that's their talon d'Achille, that's their weaknesses, is that their whole very strong survival plan seems to be relying on a weakness, as they're not preparing to that things will be different, things will be opposite. And where does it bring me to the academic part that Canadian Prepper was talking about, is that in the past I did a course, and it was very interesting, and I'll put a link down, on complexity system. And it's not just like the chaos theory and all that stuff. It's a little bit more, is that it can be applied on different things. Not only it can be applied in a situation like this, but it can be applied in sociology, economy, philosophy, politics, because he was explaining what makes a system complex, and how can you solve the problem. And there's different complexity in different systems, and based on the complexity that you have in front of you, some solution, basically you have to find the right amount of solution for the complexity of your system. So if you have a system that is not that complex, well, then a simple solution will do. But if you have a system that is very complex, then you need to find a very complex solution, as well as a solution that will be changing, because there's so many things you have. So one of the picture that I had, he was talking about there's basically 3 different complexity of the system and the solution that comes with it. There's what he calls the Mount Fuji, and so basically it kind of looks like this. It's basically there's a maximum, like one of the examples he was giving. Let's say you're looking for the right size of a shovel to know how much coal you need to pull out. So there's, how much a person can carry, what would be the size of the shovel. There's very limit of data, and at one point you'll reach the maximum, like the big size of that shovel with the person and everything will maximize your thing. Anything above or below will either be underperformed or will start going down as well, because it will be either too heavy or too big and stuff. And so that's what they call kind of simple problems, and they're the Mount Fuji. And then you have the other ones, which is kind of over here, which is the landscape. Landscape means that there's a little bit more complexity to the system, but not that much. A good example of this would be, for example, let's say you have an airline, but there's only one airline company that controls the whole place. They still have to deal with stuff like weather and production and people buying and everything and stuff. So there's still a lot of factors outside their control, but they still control a lot of it because they're the only company over there. Add another company, and then you get to the third, which they call the moving landscape. Because if company A does something, then company B can kind of return on something else, and then company C can react to what A and B did. Well, if A and B didn't take in consideration what C could do, then it gets very complex, as you can see. So that's why they call it a complexity. And so why am I talking about this is that now when we're talking about preparation and everything, it is a very complex system. Not only that we don't even know what we're preparing for, because it could be for a disaster, it could be for war, it could be for economic collapse, whatever you want to call it. Not only that this will bring different rules into that, is that also people will react differently. Now we cannot know how people can react. And not only that we don't know how people can react, is that we're not even sure, like I was saying, if it's a pandemic, maybe a lot of people will stay in the city, then they won't go across. Well, then that's a different scenario than if you have, for example, something like in Nepal, where you have like the cities that it just crumbled because they have the biggest building. Well, now there's supposed to be a big exodus of all those people trying to go out of the city because all those buildings are falling down. But now you need to find places for those people, and everything can camp and all that. And so that put a load on the infrastructure from the outside that was never built to receive that many people. And so that was a little bit, not so much a video of solutions and stuff, but again, more questions. And I've been seeing a lot of people, yeah, I'll get out and I'll bug out in the desert and I'll do this and stuff, which is, you know, it's good to be prepared for that, but if your plans depend on only that, there's one thing that you forgot to do is that the conditions that you're training yourself in now, because you know you have like your place that you can go and practice and all that, will change. Not only because the animals and the nature and everything will change with it. Because also there could have been a tornado that passed through there and all the trees now are down, so now all the animals are gone somewhere else. But also just the population themselves exodus and find a place and stuff, and you'll have like some people that are better, and they will, you know, if you have like 10 people that have the same ideas that you have, now you have to compete with those 10 people. Again, the same analogy that I was giving by standing in the in the theater when you're trying to look at the movie, if everybody does it. So then you'll become a lot of on power, because if I have a gun in that theater and everybody tries to get up, I can kind of put down, say down to people, because I can overpower them by things like this, and we can negotiate. Half of the movie you go down after. So if there's all different strategy in that, and so this is where I find soft skills like leadership, negotiations, and things like that can become a little bit better at preparing us for scenarios that we don't quite understand than just the gear and the plans, because there'll be a lot of weakness in their plans because we don't know what's going on, we don't know what kind of rules going to be, and so that's kind of reinforce what I was talking about. If you go on principles, like people like to go to X, you know, like people don't like to take hard terrain and everything. Well, if you know that, then maybe you can make your plan that if you know that a lot of people won't do that, well then if you're willing to do that, or if you prepare for that, then if you don't take the path of least resistance, then a lot of people will be doing a lot of stuff. But then if you know that you're taking the path of less resistance, that means you'll be facing, the people that you'll be facing in front of you will be the same people that kind of think like you. That means a lot of people that are willing to go to that path, and that's mostly like other preppers and everything. And so now you have a prepper facing another prepper that probably have like a lot of preparation and maybe even weapons and stuff with them. So you see, like every decision that you have, it's that complex moving landscape. Anyway, just a little thought, and I'll talk to you soon.